studio, I have Chief Jason Gauthier of the Missanabie Cree First Nation. And Jason, Chief, your First Nation has gotten some pretty huge news these last couple weeks.
Yeah.
I want to start with talking a little bit about the land claim. Been waiting 112 years to receive land.
Yep.
So can you tell us the details? How much land did your First Nation get and where is it?
So we are northeast of Wawa and northwest of Chapleau, up the Highway 651, just off of 101. We got 15 square miles. Like you said, we waited a significant amount of time, 112 years. So what we actually got was a reserve designation. So that means that the land that a piece of land that is our traditional territory has been designated as reserve land by the federal government. So we're looking at what we're going to do next with that. We're doing a lot of planning and we're very excited about it because it's new, right? Like you have a fresh piece of land. You're not sure what where everything is going to go. So we're in the planning stages with our community members, sort of taking a grassroots sort of perspective to finding out exactly where they want to put everything.
And what's the reason for the wait? I mean, that's gone through generations. Now you have people that unfortunately they'll never see the fruits of this labor because they would have passed or they moved away or they won't make it to the point where you'll actually be moving on the reserve. So what took so long?
Well, I think there's a lot of history involved. I think back in 1906 there was a promise of reserve. It didn't turn out the way it was supposed to. We put in an application back in I think it was 1992. We had some people who worked very hard in order for that to happen, to start the process of negotiation on land. And some of them are even no longer here now. But it was a conversation with federal government about what they owed back then, and then it becomes a very bureaucratic process, and the process is what takes so long in government. So I think once there was some negotiation and there continues to be negotiation. At some point, there was the bureaucrats took over, started with a lot of the red tape. A lot of that takes time when it comes to the government. So, it's a little ridiculous at 112 years, but we're very happy and we're very grateful that it's completed now. That part of it is completed now.
And what does this mean for the community? What are your hopes for the reserve as chief?
Well, right now it just means a lot of planning.
Right.
It means we have to figure out where we're going to live, how we're going to live up there, and it's a lot of discussion with the community on how this is going to happen. I mean, we again. If we're not going to plan everything that's going to happen, then I think that we might not be able to have everything in place for when we move up. I think that we're also looking at who's going to move up, and we're going to look at when they're going to move up, and to be able to accommodate everybody who makes that decision.
So there needs to be a lot of infrastructural development out at Missanabie.
That's correct. We're looking at all the different facets, right? We're looking at electrification, we're looking at water, sewage, we're looking at clearing land. I mean, it's very exciting times because, like I said, it's sort of a blank slate.
Right.
So we have an opportunity to build whatever we want to build. I mean, not to give anything away, I'm sure the community is looking at a very green type of infrastructure too, where hopefully we're going to be have more solar power and wind power that we can use for the community, so that we have less of a footprint.
I think the really great thing about this is the community members right now and the people who are not only in leadership but at the grassroots in your community all have such a huge role to play in the really historical moment for the entire First Nation. I mean, this is going to be looked back on for years and years to come, right?
Yep.
So they're going to take pride in really taking on that role, and it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work.
Yes, and I, there are a lot of things that are happening at the same time. Like this is sort of a multi-phased approach. Like this is one of the things that we've achieved, but there are several other things that we need to do in order for us to be complete as far as our claims with the government. I mean, we still have continual negotiations with the provincial government. We still have continued negotiations with federal government. So those things continue now. This is one part of it.
Right.
This is the part where some of the land is designated as reserve, which is fantastic, but there's still work to be done.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Chief Gauthier, for coming in and sharing that with us. You guys sound like you have a lot of work left to do.
Yeah.
But you've come a long way, and we're so pleased that you came in to share that with us.
For sure.
We'll be back with more news after this.